Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of WPEM Tech Talk, the series where we bring industry professionals to share real story, real challenges, and real solutions that help all of us build better tech. I'm your host, Navodita Srivastava, Marketing Head at WP Event Manager, and today's conversation is going to be incredibly valuable for everyone working in tech team, agencies, product company, or even freelancing. Today's topic is one everyone's struggling with, no matter the company size, the art of project and client management in modern tech. Managing project is difficult, managing client is even harder. Managing both together in the fast moving tech world, that's the art. So, and to explore this, I'm thrilled to invite someone who has lived this journey at every level, Amit Patel. Amit has worked with agencies, developers, designers, and founders and has mastered the skills of keeping project on track, maintaining client trust, and building processes that actually work in real life. So, Amit, welcome to WPEM Tech Talk, and thank you for joining today.
Thanks, Navdita, for having me. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start the main conversation, which have the understanding of modern tech landscape. So, Amit, let's start with a simple but a powerful question. What has changed the most in project management in the last few years? What make it so challenging today?
I think the art of project management is something that remains the same, right? But yeah, you are right. What has changed is maybe frameworks, the technical stack, the processes, and the unique style of project managers, right? So the way of project management and client engagement changes from person to person, and I have noticed that as the time goes and evolves, the process, frameworks, technical stacks, tools, those keeps changing, right? And even right now, since AI has been there, it keeps on changing, and it makes it more interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so like many tech teams say that biggest problem is not execution, but like a miscommunication. So from your experience, why do misunderstanding happening so easily between team and clients?
Yeah. I think we see these challenges in every 90% of the project. I think the main reason that I have identified while working in projects is the one of the reason is the listening skills. I think the extent of the team or project manager in listening to client requirement might not be 100%. So I think, yeah, that the scale of listening should be increased to 100%. And second is, as a technical team or as a technical manager, we really keep on pushing uh, the frameworks, pushing the solution, even before realizing what might be the complexity at client end or what might be the situation at client end. So I think two things: uh, lack of 100% active listening, and second is insisting and pushing the frameworks or solution. These two are really increasing the complexities and adding to the difficulty of the project. Yeah.
Like, absolutely agree with you. So what is the right way to like set expectation at the beginning of the project? Like, is there a framework or a structure you personally use?
Yeah, I think we must definitely think of this straight from the beginning of the project. I personally have just discovered the framework that I call a scope framework. So yeah, where S stands for success. So while we start the project as a team, we should know what the success or the milestone might look like, right? So every team member, especially the project manager, should be clear on what would be the success at each point that client wants to see. So that is the first thing. The second is constraint, which is for C. So constraint is like we should know what are the constraints in the project, what might be uh, the pain points, or what might be the limitations, right, in advance, so that we can plan accordingly. The third one is the ownership. uh, every team member, including the project manager, should have the ownership of the role or the task that they should be taking ahead. This would really get rid of the confusions, like who will be doing what. So yeah, that is the ownership part. Next is the priority. Without the proper priority management, I don't think so the complex or the enterprise projects might be successfully accomplished. So the priority management, whether it's the priority of the task or whether it's the priority of dividing the complex task, or how the project timeline should be going on. So yeah, the priority at each of the stage of the project should be defined. And last is the execution. The work plan of the project, how you have set up the complete sprints, maybe those should be executed accordingly. So yeah, I mean, I personally have discovered and utilized the scope framework, and have been successful in deploying that. So yeah, I think this is the secret so far I have been using for most of the project, and yeah, it really went 100% success rate.
Okay, so like clients often expect fast delivery and like unlimited revisions, like I want this, I want that. So how do you define boundaries without like sounding rude to your client? So what are the secret for this?
Yeah, I think mostly most of the technical team, or the we being a project manager, we have that okay, the revisions are unlimited. And I see lots of concerns coming from the technical team, mostly about how to stop the revisions, right? uh,
Yeah.
but if you think client point of view, I think asking for revisions, they are not unreasonable. Because when we are not clear to mention to client, right, that okay, how the revisions, multiple revisions might impact the timeline, when we are not transparent enough or open to discuss this with client, they might keep doing that, right? So yeah, now what, how I stop unlimited revisions, or how I handle this again, I I stay clear in terms of the context, alignment, keeping the boundaries. Okay, what could be done, what would not be a good practice, and giving the choice to client. So I call this combination again as a care framework, which really helps me and my team to deliver things quickly, on time, without sounding rude. So if we just define this care and we extend that, so C stands for context. So if I explain this, it would be, when we talk to client about the additional revisions, we should know the context. Okay, that why client wants this suddenly, is it important or not? So this discussion with the client would be crucial, and letting the client know that okay, they need this extension or they need this revision, how it will impact the timelines or the plan, whether we think it should be included in the phase 2, anything, right? So properly discussing on why as a context, that is essential. And the second one is alignment. So while the client comes with the unlimited revisions or extended revision, um, we should align according to the plan of client, and then present our opinion properly. Like okay, mentioning to client that okay, you want this additional feature, as an example,
Okay.
and this might really take 3 days. So it might impact the scope, it might impact the cost, it might impact the timeline. Is it necessary, or should we push it? So yeah, I think transparently discussing this with client brings the proper alignment. The next is rules. So when we, what I have experienced is, when we push uh, or reject the changes to the client, then it might sound rude. But if we present a proper logic, that okay, why we don't think this might be a good option, or this might be recommended, presenting them as a boundary and clarity, I think most of the client would definitely accept that. So I think, and that will really make it not look rude. So the important part is the how you present the rules or boundaries, right? It should not look like a rule that, sorry, we cannot do it according to the process of our company. It would not be a good statement to present, but something like, hey, if we do this executable, it might really affect our plan of keeping the quality of the work and maintaining the launch date. Maybe we might miss the launch date. Something like this conversation that might be impactful. And I have seen client accepting that, being more logical. And the last one of the framework is the empowered choice. Like we give choice to the client, let them decide, right? Not we are not the one who will decide. It's a teamwork that we do with client as a partner to make the project successful. So I think the good practice would be giving the option to client that, okay, option one, if we execute additional revision or anything, it might extend it for 1 week. Do you think it might be helpful? Versus option two, let us finish what we have planned so far and keep the additional option in the phase two that we will definitely execute. So giving the empowered choice to the client will really make them confident, and it will really bring trust in the team. So yeah, I think that is the framework which I have utilized and I usually follow with client when in order to handle the unlimited revisions.
I guess this is the perfect example and perfect framework that every project manager or a client handling team will follow this. So I think they never came with the like problem or missing their uh, release date and so on things. So I think this is the right way to handle your client and don't want to sound rude and anything that not look good in the presence of company. So in your experience, what are the top three mistakes team makes during a project?
I think one of the mistakes is the team starts to jump straight away in execution part. I think this really is the common mistake that we keep doing it as a team, even after knowing that what is the importance of scope, what is the importance of risk assessment, or gathering the requirement or analyzing it, right? We know that this is risky, but as a team they always rush for executing of the things without planning. So I think that is first one. The second one is lack of risk analysis or risk assessment. Like while we execute anything, the team doesn't measure the risk factor, that okay, if we execute this task on time, no risk, but if we fail, whether it would affect the timeline, whether it would take more hours from the team. I think most often we miss it. So that is the second one. The third one is the communication rhythm. Like most of the times it happens that the team members get confident, they start executing tasks on their own, and they miss the rhythm, right? So why communication rhythm is important, that the team member should be, updating each other or the project manager that okay, hey, I planned that this task would be done in 10 hours, for example, but yeah, this is really taking long. I need somebody's help, or I need your help, something like this. And reverse, if I come to know from client as a project manager that something has changed a bit, or like, the perspective of the requirement, how it looks as an output has changed, I should immediately, convey to the team members that yeah, this is in the phase two, but yeah, this is what clients wants to see. So just keep a watch on, you make sure that you follow the same expectation. So I think communication rhythm is the third one that we miss, and these three are the really the red flags that we shouldn't miss for proper project delivery.
I guess not even a only in a project, but every work, every action is stand for the communication.
Yeah.
And if we miss the link between the client and the project, a project manager or the like company structure, we if we miss the communication, that's why the biggest problem arise in the miscommunication type and so on thing. So and how can tech team prevent delay before they can like even happen? How you justify that people can control this?
again, I mean, the same factors, right? Like we, as a team, we discuss on the features, the scope. We discuss with each other on the risk. So, going one step ahead in the planning, right, before we execute anything, I think the pre-planning, where we do risk analysis, where we identify the priority, especially that what things should be done first, next, and so priority again, like high, medium, low. And the next thing is who will do what. I think this is very key factor. It looks very underrated because it looks very simple, right, that it's not a big deal. Per member A will do the front end, the member B will do the back end, and the one of the member will do QA. It looks very simple, but when we really
Yeah,
work on project, there are chances people start to overlap, right? They have tendency to start doing something which is not defined or planned. So I think the clarity of who will do what, right, ownership of the task, I think that is very crucial. And again, risk assessment or risk management is something which I always focus on at each and every stage of project, because we miss this and it might cost the company who is working on the project in terms of profitability and hours, and definitely it might cost the client in terms of timelines. And if we all know, right, if we miss the timeline, how it will impact the client and launch. So I think these are the key elements which we should take care before execution, and we should keep doing that even during the execution to make sure that we do not really face delays. Yeah.
correct. So, yeah, like if everyone doing the same thing, then it will create a mess, not a project, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how do you handle difficult client, especially when they keep changing requirements?
I mean, I really don't label them as difficult. Uh, but yeah, I mean, they might sound difficult when we are not clear, right? I think that is where the confusion starts. If we really see clients' perspective, uh, when they are not clear on what we might be doing, uh, whether they are getting any explanation where we are, I think that is the stage where they start to sound difficult, and then the difficulty increases, right? So I think to prevent that, we must be very clear at each and every stage, transparent enough to share updates. And I think the same elements that I spoke earlier, right, that we must be very much clear on who will do what, uh, just to make sure that we do not miss anything. Accountability should be there. Even when me as a project manager, when I'm speaking with client, I should know what things I'm accountable at, right? So even while we go on a weekly call with client to share the updates, I should be very clear on that. Okay, this was what was planned last week. This is what has been done. We are stuck up in this. If there are any blockers, and we need your help to go ahead, right? So I think the clarity should be at micro level, where we do not think what client will think, whether we will lose client. I think this is the key when we want to continue a good partnership with clients. So everybody should be transparent enough and be very clear, because it's not that client is something who is just hiring us. We should think of client as our partner, that we are working for their solution, and of course they are there to help us. I think that is something which will get the client to be identified as difficult. And I think and when they are clear, right, it will be more reasonable. And I have never seen that when we share at micro level about the project updates or what we are planning, how we will take the project ahead, the client will be unreasonable. So I think that is the time where client will really enjoy working with us. And even if needed, right, when the reasons are right, sometimes difficulty might happen in the execution, right? So the same client would be open that, okay, what might be the solution, should we extend it or not? So I have seen it when we are clear, when the client has that trust on the team, even when we face the genuine difficulty in deadlines or timelines, uh, client is the first one who will tell that, don't worry, yeah, we can go a step ahead and like extend it for 2 days, 3 days. We don't want to compromise the quality, so yeah, go ahead. So yeah, I think that is where, we'll not have that solution situation of the difficult client and how we would handle them.
Okay, so that's a really great step, I guess. So, what role does transparency play in maintaining trust during a long project? Like, as you can say, share that we should make the transparency between the clients and the company. So, what role does transparency play in maintaining trust during long project?
I think transparency is a very crucial pillar in the entire project timeline. I think most important one, because it's transparency that builds that trust eventually and converts the client to a long-term partner, right, on behalf of the company. So I think everything depends on the transparency, and then it leads to trust, and then increased business relationship, right, and making the client look like a partner. So yeah, I mean, for me it's 100% crucial.
Okay, so what's the best way to keep developers, designer, and like managers aligned?
I think that's where I mean, the agile methodology would be handy, right? Because we have seen it, even I have seen it. Uh, the projects which were executed before agile methodology, right? They really struggle.
Yeah.
But yeah, since we have agile, we have the concept of scrums, stand up, right? So I think that is the right tool or process where we as a team will connect with each other. We'll discuss like, okay, what everybody is doing today, what has been accomplished, and what are the blockers. I think these are the three units of scrum, those who might be utilizing it, right? And stand up, we know, right, we encourage team members to finish the executables, or how it looks, or if there are any challenges. So I think the right use of agile methodology or any project management methodology, uh, we get chance to align as a team, right? Whether it's developer, a project manager, and again, that the third element, right? The communication rhythm. I think these are the key things or tools for the communication rhythm, where we tell each other that, yeah, I'm on track, or I'm out of track, I need help. So we keep updating each other as a team. And that is how the developers, the managers, the, the entire team stays aligned with each other.
Yeah, that's a great thing, I guess. So, like, how important is the documentation to that? Like, everyone talking about the make the document, make the detail, everything. So, what kind of document actually matters in the project management?
I think what the funny part for the technical team members is they really hate documentation. I mean, even when I
Correct.
evolved from the development part, I really wanted to go and start executing the task, right? But if like
Yeah.
my project manager used to ask me that, Amit, please work on the document, I would be the last person to work on it, right? Because I thought that, oh, that might not be a productive way to mention or write the things, right? But now, since I evolved as a project manager and a higher roles, I really figure out that documentation is something very important, even if it's boring task. And we know business analyst really keeps patience to develop such a good document, scope documents, and all. So it's we should really be thankful as a team. And yeah, the documentation has been evolved, I can say. Nowadays we have like key sections at least, which might be important, like scope, so we know what we should be doing. Assumptions, for example, like what are the assumptions that we are assuming, what are the constraint, the same thing that we
Mm.
talked in earlier framework, right? We should know scope, constraint, who will do what, and what are the timelines. So yeah, few important things of the documents, these sections are really important. Maybe the document has evolved that it's not that much lengthy like it used to be earlier, right? Earlier we had like number of pages for the document, everything, the team of clients and hands off, everything was in the single document. But now we have different
Correct.
stages. So the sales team have different documentation. We as a project management team have a summarized document or a scope document. So yeah, I mean, the documentation has even evolved. It has only important elements, I can say, not too much of detail, not too much lengthy. And yes, it is definitely very helpful when somebody gets confused. That is the area where we go and double check that, okay, what actually we need to develop, what are the timelines, whether there are any constraint or assumptions developed. So whenever there is any confusion, whether we have confusion within the team, we ask each other,
Okay.
can we double check the document, that section? And even when we have misunderstanding with the client, I have seen in my journey that sometimes the project is long and their
Hmm.
client has tendency that they miss something, and they will ask something extra which we really don't find in the document or scope. I think
Okay.
that makes document important, because we get chance to ask client that, can you please help me out with what was that section in the document that you're talking, I do not remember it. And then when client will realize that, sorry, it wasn't defined in the document. So it is a big proof to avoid misunderstanding, and big uh, identity for self aligning with the team members as well, what to do when and what are the timelines. So yeah, it stays important as of date as
Yeah, I guess with this, I feel like documentation is now the solution of every problem happening in the project handling. So, and this is also called a transparency. Because if we written each and everything, like what the correct requirement of client, what we developed, and what we have to develop in the future as well. So this is the complete things written in a one single document, and nobody said that you said this and we made this. So this is
well.
the perfect transparencies and the project handling in the same document. So what tool do you recommend for the project management today, like to maintain the document, to maintain uh, the, I guess, SDLC level, everything? So what tool do you recommend to us?
I think for the project managers, they should definitely follow the documents that they have confirmed with the client. That is the first and foremost. Next is utilizing the proper tools and framework in identifying the risk. So now with the presence of AI, they can use the proper AI tools in risk management. They can really utilize the good project management tool like Jira, ClickUp, Asana, Trello, whatever they think right for the organization and right for the project. So yeah, that is also the compulsory thing, using any single project management system to keep track of where they are, what they would be doing, and they can share that with the client, right? So that is the second one. And the third thing is, never miss the communication rhythm. uh, there might be times where the project manager might be thinking that, oh, it's a 6 months project and I'm really doing this daily scrums with the team members. They might get burned out as well sometimes. But what I have noticed is, keeping the patients managing the daily scrum really helps the entire team, because that is the time where everybody knows who is doing what, and whether they are
Yeah.
missing anything, whether they should be doing. So I have always advised that when the person gets burned out, there they might reduce the time limit of the scrum, like reduce it to 10 minutes instead of 30 minutes sometimes, just
Oh.
discussing that, oh, there is no other challenge, right?
Mm.
Does anybody need help, something like that, instead of who is doing what, right, in detail. But yes,
Okay.
never miss the communication rhythm, whether it's scrum meetings, whether stand up meetings, whether weekly check in with the milestones, right, with the key people of the team. So I think, yeah, these are the
Okay.
essential uh, part of the project, whether it's tool, whether it's the meeting rhythm, or whether it's following the document or project management system, and whether it's using AI to calculate the profitability of the project, to track the health of the project, especially, and to come up with the risk management, right? Like whether it's the project is going in risk, what should we do to mitigate that. So I think, yeah, I would always suggest to follow the combinations what I have mentioned, and for a successful project completion.
I guess this is also depend on the project length. uh, like
Yeah,
if it's more than six, more than three, or any kind of project, the management is really important and play a huge role in this. And I guess GitHub is the best tool for the maintaining all the records and the recommendation, I guess. Personally, I use GitHub more to maintain all the related documents even, and the process, the milestone, everything. So this makes sense even more, I guess. So, and uh, I guess development, in the development, GitHub is the right tool, or a ClickUp is the also a great tool for this. So I
yeah,
seriously accept, like, this is really a good thing. Okay, so
yeah. We
what
can
are the yes, please.
we cannot really think of a life as a developer without GitHub nowadays, because
Yeah.
it is a huge center of repository. We know the versioning, we have the backups, everything, right? Whether it's commit, comment, for a long project as well, right? When there are
Mm,
confusions, we can restore few things. We have the every detail of the file, right, as a repository. So
mm.
I think, yeah, for open source, it's a gift, we can say, that we have a tool like GitHub, and with the evolvement of GitHub Copilot, and then how we do the code review and all, right? Especially for the
Right.
development team and engineering team, it's a huge benefit. Yeah,
What are the non-negotiable process that every team should have in the place?
I call that them as ORE. I mean ORE, where O is again the ownership. I mean,
Oh,
this is something like what I know is the project cannot be executed at all without we are clear on ownership of the task. Everybody should be clear who will do what, and specifically at what scale, right? So ownership should be defined at the micro level while we are working on the project planning. So that is something, uh, the first one. The second one is the rhythm, again, like how we are meeting, how we are discussing things, how me as a project manager will be talking to client, how me as a project manager will be talking to the team. So building a rhythm of communication, right? That is the second non-negotiable thing that we cannot escape. And the third one is the early escalation, because this is something which usually happens but we never identify it. So whenever we start running into a problem, we call it as an early escalation, and we have to fix that, because if we do not handle it, it might be something big, and then it's difficult to handle. So I think ORE,
right.
ownership, rhythm, and early escalation, these three are non-negotiable, and I don't think so the project life cycle can survive without any of these three. Yeah.
That's really great. So, what skill will tomorrow's project manager need that today's manager may not have yet?
It's very difficult thing to think, because usually if you ask me the question as a today's project manager, I have tendency to tell,
Yeah.
right, that I'm really good. There is nothing that I need to adapt. But yeah, honestly speaking, seeing how the project management, how the technology or shifts are happening, I can think that tomorrow's project manager would be one scale ahead of task execution. I mean, usually when it comes to project management, we really think, right, that okay, tasks should be executed properly on time, milestone should be
Right.
executed, and that is where the success will be. But I think tomorrow this might not be enough, because the project manager will need to think as a business advisor for the client,
Mm.
where the project manager as a partner will discuss with client that okay, what else you need, will this be helpful, can we include this step, can we do this for you? So you must really go one step ahead, become a business consultant for the client, where you will calculate and say that this might be helpful, this is recommended, this is what we can do for your business to get you more sales or to get you more growth. So that is very important part. And I think the next generation of project managers would need to be more AI fluent. They need to
Yeah.
be more handy towards using AI tools, whether about communication, whether about risk management that I spoke earlier, right? And or creating an intelligent dashboard. So, they need to think out of the box. They need to go one step ahead. And we know that when we save our time, right? If we count the project profitability, the company can save money by saving their hours. So, say for example, if I know that project timeline has 1,000 hours of the entire team, if I can save my 20 hours using some AI tools, I can really be more helpful for the client or towards more strategic decision. So how I will do that
Okay.
is utilize some tools for risk management, which will save my time, utilize some tools for
Yeah.
managing the project tracker or health of the project. And third thing is preparing some intelligent dashboard, which will let me know as a project manager that, oh, project is going under risk, we need to build a control, some team member
Right.
is struggling in terms of productivity, so we need a backup or somebody should help. So I think uh, the project manager should be well equipped in terms of soft skills, uh, where they will be more empathetic, they will be more client solution focused, more using AI, and then upgrading themselves as well, where they will upgrade themselves to the latest technologies, how they can help client in more and more implementations. So yeah, many multiple combinations of the skills for the future project managers to be successful.
So as you mentioned about AI, so how do you see AI improving project and client management in the future?
AI would be definitely adding to the value of the project by increasing the productivity and saving the time as well, because we can always use AI for calculating the risk, identifying the solution, utilize them for documentation or drafting the minutes of meeting that we usually do, keeping track of everybody's hours, right, how they are executing, and then calculate something like a tracker, right, which we usually used to do it in manual way in earlier, right, before AI came. But nowadays we have every tool like Jira, ClickUp, Asana, Notion, anything, any tool we might be using, they already have now AI integrated, right? Which
Alright.
helps us team to be more productive. So I think with the use of AI, definitely the team strength would be multiplied, and I don't see any reason why we have a point in our mind where we think that AI might be replacing us as a team, because AI is there to help us as a support and to multiply the efforts, not to replace the human, right? Of course, the project management needs a human touch, because we need empathy to understand what client requires. Uh, we need a human for, of course, planning and execution of the task, for building that rhythm. So yeah, collectively we should use AI to increase the productivity and to fasten the project life cycle. Yeah.
Okay, that's really great. So my today's talk, last but not the least question, Amit, what's your unique style that's successful in executing 500 plus successful projects since past like 22 years? What are the success story behind this?
Yeah. Th- I would really like to share this important lesson that I have learned throughout my career of 22 years and executing more than 500 projects. See, tools, processes, frameworks, this will come and it will keep coming, right? I mean, uh, so what I see the key is to be more empathetic, to build empathy towards client, and that is completely human value. I mean, while we speak with client, a project manager should always get into the shoes of the client, think why they are facing this issue, why they are extending something, right? So being positive, thinking with client's perspective, and being more empathetic and active listener for client, right, when they share something, rather than we push. I mean, that is what I have been doing it for years. I like to listen to client first, like what they are facing, rather than jumping in, stopping them in between and say that, okay, I would do this. recommend this. It really spoils the flow of the communication. uh, Being active listener, right, it will really help client to share more and more issues they are facing. They will trust us as a team more, and there we establish a strong collaboration opportunity, right? So I think my secret element which I would always trust is listening skills, and being more empathetic towards client. I think these are a very unique soft skill that a project manager should be having. Even the future generation of project managers should be working, because AI processes, frameworks, those will be compulsory in future. I mean, we cannot escape that.
Yeah,
But these two things are something that we should focus, because client management is something also going ahead and giving customer support whenever even we develop the product, right? uh, the cycle is different. We study the users, right? Users pain points, what user would like, how to improvise the user landing rate. So I think even when we are working on a product in the product development life cycle as well, uh, empathy and the listening, these two things are something where we get to know the user, or who will be the end user, whether it's client or whether it's the user of any plugin or tool, to know them better. And there we get the exact perspective, why they want this, why they are not using our product correctly, why the active installations might not be helping, why the churn rate has increased, right? So I think that the secret lies in knowing, sitting in the shoes of user or client, knowing why they are doing it, why they are facing the issue. And second is listening to them. I think that gives us a big hint or an idea what we should be doing. So these two are underrated soft skills, but yeah, the most important one which I think, and the project manager should always focus on this. And second is that they should trust their instincts, uh, rather than comparing with the other project managers, right? Nowadays there is a tendency that we have, uh, tendency to compare that, okay, the other project manager is certified, they are working with big projects, I'm not certified, what I should do. And then I start to look uh, very quickly, right, how I should upgrade. I think that is something which will drain the confidence. So I think keeping confidence, trust on a unique skill every project manager is having, uh, whether it's soft skills, whether it's the people management, and then work on those skills and the frameworks that I have shared. I think the combination would be a secret for execution of the projects. Yeah. And again, this is a lifelong learning area. We cannot ever say that I'm a 100% successful project manager, right? Because we keep learning every day and
correct.
trying to be
Absolutely.
evolved as a good manager. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Amit. This has been a like such a valuable and practical conversation. Like project and client management shape the success of every tech team, and like your insight will help so many people watching this. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you so much, Amit. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining episode 3 of WPEM Tech Talk. So, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and do share your biggest takeaway from this episode. And also, like WP Event Manager is a complete event solution for WordPress. So if you are hosting webinar, job fair, conference, or meetup on your website, we give you all the tool to list events, sell ticket, manage registration, and many more. So go check out our website and check the demo, everything. And see you soon in the episode 4. Bye bye.